The Department of Home Affairs has arrested 7 Kenyans who allegedly abused tourist visas. The arrests were carried out in collaboration with law enforcement agencies. Home Affairs says the suspects violated South Africa's immigration laws. Sophie Mokoena reports.
South Africa is tightening its immigration processes, and the country has warned that those violating the laws of the country will be punished and deported. Home Affairs says the 7 Kenyans applied to visit the country. However, they were found working while in possession of tourist visas. The Kenyan embassy has not issued a statement in response yet. Sophie Mokoena, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Yesterday, the Department of Home Affairs, in collaboration with other arms of law enforcement, executed a routine, lawful operation in Johannesburg targeted at suspected violations of South African immigration law. The operation followed after intelligence reports indicated that a number of Kenyan nationals had recently entered South Africa on tourist visas and had illegally taken up work at a center processing the applications of so-called refugees to the United States. This was despite the fact that earlier visa applications for Kenyan nationals to perform this work had been lawfully declined by the department. During the operation, 7 Kenyan nationals were discovered engaging in work despite only being in possession of tourist visas, in clear violation of their conditions of entry into the country. They were arrested and issued with deportation orders and will be prohibited from entering South Africa again for a 5-year period. The operation was carried out according to the same procedures that has seen Home Affairs dramatically intensify deportations over the past 18 months, as the South African government diligently works to turn around the long-standing abuse of our immigration and visa system. No US officials were arrested in the process, the operation was not conducted at a diplomatic site, and no members of the public or prospective refugees were harassed.
Right, to expand on the story, we're now joined by SABC News specialist correspondent Sophie Mokoena, who will be giving us more details. A very good afternoon to you, Sophie. These are arrests, as we listened to Minister Schreiber explaining, were carried out in collaboration with law enforcement agencies. I mean, he goes on to detail that earlier visas were declined by the department. What led to the arrest of this group of Kenyan nationals?
Well, these Kenyan nationals, we had some few weeks ago or last month that there were 32 Kenyans who had applied to come to work in South Africa, and they were going to work with an organization. It's a Christian organization. Its headquarters is in the United States of America and also a branch in Nairobi. They were going to come here to help with processing of these Afrikaners who want to go to the United States of America. And therefore, when you look at what they were going to do, clearly it's not a scarce skills. And therefore, they were not allowed to come to South Africa to do that kind of work. That doesn't mean that the processing of Afrikaners who want to go to the United States of America is not happening. It has been happening. We saw when they left earlier on. And therefore, the question, this organization, when they realized that visas were not granted for these Kenyans to work here, and then these Kenyans applied pretending that they are coming to visit, they are coming for holidays. And therefore, they came via Zimbabwe. From Zimbabwe, they went to Botswana and then South Africa. So you can see that their process of traveling, clearly they were up to something. And when they arrive here, they were supposed to be tourists who are supposed to return back to their country with no working permit or visa. And then they started working with this organization at some offices in Sandton, in Kelvin. It is not any of the American offices, either the Consul General or the embassy. It was a private office, and they were working there. And therefore, they were arrested because they violated the immigration laws of South Africa. You come into a country, you say you are visiting, all of a sudden you are working. And they were being paid by this Christian organization that is based in the United States of America. For the fact that they were being paid, it means they were employed. And then in a sting, they were arrested and they were sent back no American official was arrested. Yes, there were 2 officials from the American office at that time, but after they did produce their passports to confirm that they are officials, they were not arrested. The problem is earlier there was a standoff when they were refusing to produce passports to confirm that they are working for the American office in South Africa. But there were no American official who was arrested. It is these 7 Kenyans who have since been deported. The 6 left at about 12:05 today, towards lunchtime. And the last one, the 7th one, will be leaving at 5:05 today, traveling back to Nairobi, Kenya.
You make mention of a much larger group. So what we're talking about here is a group of 7 Kenyans. We know, of course, that tourist visas in South Africa are sometimes abused in ways that go way beyond their intended purpose of short-term leisure travel. With that group and now the 7 being deported, does that mean that there are still Kenyans in South Africa at the moment that still need to be processed?
It's not clear yet. As I pointed out, you would recall, I think a year or 2 years ago, when President Cyril Ramaphosa was on a state visit in Kenya, Kenyans were complaining about the process of getting visas to travel to South Africa, because South Africans could travel to Kenya without visas. South Africa took a decision to waive some visa requirements, and therefore they made it easy for tourists from Kenya to visit South Africa. But clearly some, not all, Kenyans are abusing this system, and that is why they were arrested. And you heard the minister emphasizing the fact that South Africa is now really tightening its laws as it relates to immigrations. And I think many people will be arrested who were previously abusing this system, because human beings in nature, they tend to abuse system. But I think also this will lead to diplomatic challenges between Kenya and South Africa. And I know that the Department of International Relations told me that they are going to take this matter up in a diplomatic channel, because clearly there was an abuse of the visa waiver that was granted to people from Kenya, and therefore causing a standoff, even touching on the risk as it relates to the security of South Africa. And I think this is the matter that is going to go on and on. We saw last night America saying they are going to investigate, and they were claiming that their officials were arrested. That's not true. That's fake news. No American official was arrested. It is Kenyans who came to South Africa, abused the immigration laws, and lying to say they are coming to visit, while they knew very well they were here to work. And they have since been deported. 6 of them have left, and the last one will leave at around 5. And I think it's a clear indication that the minister is really taking his job seriously in terms of tightening the immigration laws, as Cabinet has agreed that it's something that must be attended to because of the challenges the country has faced.
Very well. Thank you very much for that update. We're going to have to leave it there. SABC News specialist correspondent Sophie Mokoena giving us a sense of the developments around this matter. 7 Kenyans set to be deported. 6 have been deported. 1 will be deported later this afternoon. A sign that Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber is tightening immigration laws.